Swiss tech startup Final Spark is now selling access to biocomputers that combine up to 4 tiny lab-grown human brains with silicone chips. This new product, called NeuroPlatform, currently adopted by 9 institutions, integrates hardware, software, and biology. The NeuroPlatform is made up of 16 spherical brain organoids, or miniature human brains grown in a lab. The organoids, made of about 10,000 living neurons from stem cells derived from human skin tissue, are kept in sterile incubators at body temperature, provided with water and nutrients, and connected to an electrical circuit. Using these specialized electrodes, scientists can send electrical signals into brain organoids and measure the resulting responses. Researchers do this by training the organoids through a reward system. The organoids are rewarded with dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for pleasure. Well, hello and welcome to the Tinfoil Hat Club. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Ben.
Thank you for joining us yet again. Well, by the time you guys see this, we were just talking right literally before we clicked record. By the time you all see this, it'll actually be a few weeks from when we're recording it. But this last Thursday was actually the presidential debate.
Quote unquote.
Boy, oh boy, heavy quote unquote on that one.
Yeah.
Between the orange one and the vacant one.
The diapered one.
The diaper. It's sad because you know that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and the conspiratorial side of this, because normally we don't get into the political stuff so much, I guess. I mean, we get into the conspiratorial stuff, which has political ties, but the conspiratorial aspect of this that we might as well discuss for the first few minutes of the show, because that's not what the show is going to be about, just for clarity. So if you've already had enough of your fill of this, trust me, that's cool. Just hang in there. We're going to get to some concerning things here in a minute.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Did there. But, you know, it's so sad to me because it's like, come on. Anybody with 2 eyes and 2 brain cells banging together could tell this dude has dementia and has had dementia for years now.
Yeah.
The cognitive decline from the time that he was running for office to now is just unbelievable.
You know the thing.
I'm telling you. So I watched about 28 minutes of that debate. I was telling you upstairs. I watched 28 minutes of that debate and I turned it off because I'm like, this is just horrid. I can't believe I'm watching this. I'm not going to waste another second of my life on this disaster, this train wreck, because I already knew what was happening.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, okay, here it is. We've been waiting for it. Don't think for 2 seconds that wasn't pre-planned. That was, in my opinion, completely 100% pre-planned to take Broken Joe with his broken brain and stick him up there in front of everybody. That way we can get the rallying cry all at the same time from the American public that are leftists and all of the Democrats at the same time in lockstep to replace him.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the magic question, and they're going to do it. They're going to do it. The magic question becomes, who are they going to replace him with?
What if it's a situation like the movie Dave?
Well, hopefully that would be okay because it wound up being okay, right? That's a good show, actually. Kevin Kline, right?
Yeah,
that's a good show.
What if that happens?
Or the other one that's another good one. I forget the name of the movie with Robin Williams.
Oh, Man of the Year.
Man of the Year.
Yeah, we talked about that one a couple weeks ago.
Did we talk about that?
Yeah,
it's a good show.
About how the conspiracy side of it, where the lady found the thing in the. Now I'm sounding like Biden.
Spit it out, Joe. You know, the thing.
The letter. It was like the program.
You know what you can be someday, man? You can be president.
I could be president. The algorithm was how it picked the winner by the name.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was looking for. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
I had a Biden moment.
But that's what happened. I forget, man, that was early on. That was like one of the first few questions they asked. And he was in the middle of his response, and he literally had a full-on brain break.
Yeah.
And it went on for like in a very uncomfortable amount of time. And I was like, wow. And I was surprised that Trump didn't pounce on it more.
I think they had his mic turned off.
Yeah, but even when they turned the mic back on, he really only had one. Well, I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing because there was no point to it. I saw what exactly was happening. The whole, between the two, that is a sideshow. That made no difference. They already knew what that was going to be like.
Yeah.
They just wanted to march Biden out there and let him crap his pants in front of everybody. Let everybody realize just how cognitively gone he is to justify what's going to come next.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he had that, I was like, holy cow, this is really bad.
You know what Maria yelled at the TV? When he said, if you elect me, I will fix this economy. And she goes, you have had 4 years. Why haven't you fixed it yet?
Well, the thing that was one. The other thing too, that's another thing too, is like, and obviously if you're dealing with a human being with dementia, their memory is going to be just trash, right? Their memory is going to be shot.
Yeah.
And he started off, one of the first things he said was that he inherited a completely broken economy.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, what are you smoking?
Yeah.
I can show you my 401k and what you did in like 4 months. It took you all of 4 months to destroy my 401k.
Oh, yeah.
To start just decimating it. It was like this perfect little bell curve where he got in and you can see it round off, and then about 4 months, and then you could just see it just start to go like this.
I will say, I do agree with what he said, Trump wants to tax not tax the rich, and I would. And another thing Maria said is, why haven't you taxed the rich?
You're right. That's what they always talk. See, the whole game for them is a bunch of projection.
I know.
They always project.
Yeah.
It's like, they also try to tout like they're the most, racial equality, and they like Black America and this and that. And it's like, no, you don't.
No.
You've been that way since we freed all the slaves, with whatever amendment it was. Like, you were the ones that voted a completely 100% lockstep against it.
Yeah.
Actually, we scooped up a few Democrats at the time because they were leaving office and they got promised they would have, nice positions waiting for them. That's why they went across the aisle. But all the Republicans voted for freedom, and all the Democrats voted against it.
Yeah.
I think at that moment they realized they needed to change their tactic. And I think from that point forward, they realized that they needed to portray themselves as pro Black American.
Well,
and they're not. I'm like, look what they do to these cities. They run these cities into the ground. But people keep voting for them.
Like, I think it was the Reagan's first, whenever he landslide, they switched colors.
Yeah, that's what Van Dorn said.
Yeah.
Yeah, Van Dorn said that when he Doug's episode. He mentioned that. So
yeah,
go listen to Doug's episode.
Yeah, see, we throw all this stuff at you folks.
It does.
And it comes back, we regurgitate it every now and then.
It's bad. Yeah, but not everybody listens to every episode. You and I are present for every episode, but they don't listen to every episode.
You guys need to listen to every episode. Go to our website.
There you go. Good job. You beat me to it. I like this. TheTFHC.com. Go to the website and check out the episodes. So.
Shameful plug, no problem.
No, absolutely. Hey, man, we need support. Every podcast out there needs support, man. Yeah. This is people probably look at things and they're like, oh, I bet you guys are making a bunch of money and making doing really well, and it's like, no. This production is pretty much in the red.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is no, we're not making any money. So
no.
If you want to help us out, you can go to the website and you could donate to the cause and buy some merchandise. Please do to help us out. We need to eat too, but no, it's sad, man. They're going to definitely can him. There's no doubt about it. This was all by design. And I heard this months ago they were going to do this in June. I heard this months ago.
Yeah, well, it's going to be July.
Yeah, but they did it. The domino was June.
It'll be interesting because they might.
I think Newsom.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, you think we got it bad now, comrade?
You know what? I think
he's a straight communist.
I told Maria this.
Yeah.
No matter. Okay. They're not going to let Trump win. And I said that this is what we need to look for. However many votes they get, how many, hundreds of millions, will it match the population of the U.S.?
You know what? America is so asleep. We could have more people voting in the election than people in the United States, and Americans wouldn't do anything about it.
Oh, I know.
That's how lack of confidence I am in my fellow citizen.
I know.
Yeah, it's so... And if you haven't, anybody and everybody should literally go watch 2,000 Mules. That should be mandatory viewing for every American. yes, it's going to obviously be mainly focused on this last election, but make no mistake about it. And they say this in the very beginning, if you pay attention, it's both sides that do this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like the Bloods and the Crips. That's what I always say. They just keep up in the war, but
yeah.
And all part of a greater evil.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our conversation today. That was my segue to our real conversation.
That was a good one.
I'm getting better at this gig. Which is, how evil is Switzerland? And I know that seems so abstract and left field, but track with us here, because there's some things we're going to cover today that you may not be aware of. And we're going to read this to you, and we're going to share the screen, and you're going to see this for yourself. And please, as always, don't take our word for it. Go look into these things yourself.
I will say they control the world. If you really want to go down this conspiracy rabbit hole, I will say they do hold the spear of destiny.
Was that like World War II? Like,
yes, they got it.
I vaguely remember something about this.
Yeah.
What's the spear of destiny?
It's the spear that pierces Christ.
Yeah.
So the legend is whoever has that rules the world.
Is that right?
Yeah. And the day Germany lost it, that's the day Hitler died, supposedly died.
Yeah, I don't think he died.
No, he didn't die.
You ever watch Hunting Hitler?
I've seen a couple of them.
Oh, wow. That is fascinating. Whether or not you think Hitler actually survived the bunker, which I fully think Hitler survived the bunker, there is so much intelligence that points to the fact that now that we've got freedom of information and all this has been released, that dude did not die in a bunker. He fled to South America, no doubt about it, and was trying to get going again by all counts. And there, because most people don't know this, but there's a huge contingent of Nazism in South America.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, all of those countries down there were all run by dictators.
Yeah.
So they were pro-Nazi regime because, you know, they thought that they were going to land on the side of who was going to win, right?
Oh,
and obviously that kind of lines ideally with, you know, what they're thinking.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a huge, even to this day, Nazi populace down there. Most people don't know that.
No, it is.
Well, kind of fascinating. But no, if you look at Switzerland, and, you know, and everybody always like the cabal, who's the secret entities that run the world? And I'm like, it's not that big of a mystery to me. I think they meet in Davos, Switzerland every year.
Is that where isn't that where the temple is too?
You talking about
where they have the 200 seats? Like they say it's Satan's seat for the 200 watchers.
Oh, I remember talking about this with maybe we talked about it on their episode. I don't think we got into this.
Yeah.
I vaguely do remember this, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I think it's Satan's temple, Satan's throne. It's not to be confused with
Pergamum.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not to be confused with what Hitler did, you know, had the big stage and then brought it to Germany. Man, we're bringing up Hitler a lot.
The shoe fits. Well, they're trying to do the same things that they did.
I think it might be. I could be wrong. It's a big building, big white building.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, if we remember here somewhere, I'll pull it up. But
yeah,
wouldn't surprise me.
I think I shared it to our Facebook page a few months ago.
So it's like yeah, I do remember this.
Yeah,
I do remember this. You said there's 200 seats. It was like a video, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't surprise me. And it was in Switzerland?
Yeah, I think so.
Go figure. So really, there's really going to be 4 things we're going to zero in on today. And guess what? Guess where they're all at? Switzerland.
They make a good knife.
They do make a good knife. They do make a good knife. They make a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
But it goes to show you, too, like, where is it always? We joke about it in movies. Where do people go when they want to hide their money?
Switzerland.
Swiss bank, baby.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, you go and there's some things that a lot of people probably don't know about, and we're gonna try to share today. But, you know, you have Davos, Switzerland. That's where the World Economic Forum meets every single year. You want to know who really runs the world? It's Klaus Schwab. It's Larry Fink from BlackRock. Bill Gates. All these clowns go to the the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
That's who runs the world. That's who comes up with all of your DEI, your diversity, inclusion, and belonging, and all the Great Reset stuff. And go look up some of this stuff. It's insane. Go get Glenn Beck's book, The Great Reset. It'll help you give you a little kickstart into some of the things that those creepy people want to do.
Yeah.
But I think they're the face of like Satan here on Earth. I mean, they're not just them, but I think that they sit kind of at the top.
Oh yeah, they're doing his bidding.
Oh, totally.
And if you can't sense that he's at work,
Yeah.
then that's a problem in itself. I think we can see it every day that there's so much angst and anxiety around that he's working, pulling the strings.
Oh, totally. And I think we talk about it all the time, but it's so blatant and in your face.
Oh yeah.
Like they don't even try to hide stuff. It's just right there for everybody to see.
Yeah.
But another thing that just came out, and please, if you have not already, please go to Facebook and join the Tinfoil Hat Club podcast group page. Because we put a lot of this stuff on there. We have a little community that we have on there and people share things, but we definitely share things too, especially when it comes to these episodes. And the first thing that I kind of want to cover today, because this is terrifying, let alone the things that CERN's doing, which for those of you who don't know, CERN is also in Switzerland. It actually sits down by Geneva and actually goes in a loop, right? The Hadron Collider is the Hadron Collider is I think somewhere else. But CERN, the CERN loop goes through France and back into Switzerland. So it's a kind of a big loop down there. But this is another one that is backed by, guess who? BlackRock. And this is Final Spark. So if you have not read about this, please, if you want to read more about it, you can go to our Facebook page, the Tinfoil Hat Club podcast, and join us. As you can read about this. And ultimately what this is they want to create these hybrid lab-grown brains that they then intermingle with AI technology. Does that sound terrifying to anyone? I don't know about you, but it doesn't sound so good to me. But yes, this is final, and the name Final Spark. Do you think they know?
Oh yeah, they know.
Do you think they know like that they're getting ready to, like, this is it? Organoids, they call them organoids. They're using lab-grown human brains called organoids to run computers.
Yeah. Isn't that what was that Doug that I asked? Or was it one of the other guests?
It was Doug.
If AI, could that be a demon?
Yeah, because you had mentioned the first town. It's actually the second city that the Israelites took in the Promised Land in Canaan. Yeah, was actually named AI.
Oh, that was Brian Godow. That'll be coming out.
Godowa. Okay, that was Godowa.
Well,
yeah,
means ruin.
Yeah, and they didn't get it done the first time. It's actually kind of a fascinating story.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
It's going to be our ruin.
God doth like his circular references, doesn't he? So yeah, this is Final Spark. So these guys literally want to create, like I said, these cross brains, right? These organoids to run computers, and they're already doing it. So we're going to read some of this article to you because it's terrifying. And this is from KNWA Fox 24, wherever this is. But and the title is Brain Power Swiss Startup Powers Computers with Mini Human Brains. Okay. I guess this is a Fayetteville, Arkansas. Swiss tech startup Final Spark is now selling access to biocomputers that combine up to 4 tiny lab-grown human brains with silicone chips. This new product called NeuroPlatform uses small versions of human brains to do computer work instead of silicone chips. The company says it can fit 16 of these mini brains into the NeuroPlatform and use a fraction of the energy required to power a traditional setup. The platform, currently adopted by 9 institutions, so this is already in use, integrates hardware, software, and biology to create a processing system that is energy efficient and high performing. Final Spark's founders, Fred Jordan and Martin Cutter, hope to harness the human brain's capability with silicone chips to make a greener future in the tech industry. Potentially, computing may ultimately become an activity with no ecological footprint, Jordan said. The NeuroPlatform is made up of 16 spherical brain organoids, or miniature human brains grown in a lab. The organoids that the NeuroPlatform give gives access to are made of about 10,000 living neurons from stem cells derived from human skin tissue, according to Jordan. These tiny spheres, about half a millimeter wide, are kept in sterile incubators at body temperature, provided with water and nutrients, and connected to an electrical circuit with small electrodes, according to the founder's research paper in Frontiers, which there's a link to that in this article. Using these specialized electrodes, scientists can send electrical signals into brain organoids and measure the resulting responses. The NeuroPlatform enables researchers to test ideas without having to set up a biological lab and hire all the dedicated personnel, Jordan said. The lab is available to researchers 24/7, uses real human neurons, and uses the Python programming language, creating a dream bridge between biology and data scientists, according to Jordan. After accessing the provided login and password, researchers gain the ability to remotely send electrical signals to neurons and receive their responses. It is then the responsibility of researchers to devise optimal algorithms for controlling the behavior of the organoids. Holy cow, dude. Users can mimic memory function by using periodic electrical stimulation to reinforce synapses through repetition, thus making desired pathways stronger. Researchers do this by training the organoids through a reward system. The organoids are rewarded with dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for pleasure.
Didn't we just talk about this upstairs with your dog?
That's right. Seriously. Yeah. And it'll probably work about as well.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. You know what this reminded me of? Have you ever seen RoboCop 2?
Yeah. See,
RoboCop 2, baby.
A few years ago, Rob Skiba did a whole thing on this kind of stuff.
This is terrifying.
And I think this was about probably about the same time that the one I sent you, about the same time as that. And they were talking to this guy. He was, I think he was from England, and he was really pushing this, like something similar, but instead of growing, but he said about the size of a piece of
Grain
rice,
of rice, and
put it in your baby's head. So your baby would be like before your baby was born. So like in the womb, they inject it, and they said this guy, he's atheist and everything,
of course,
and he said, but your baby would be the smartest, fastest, strongest, whatever. And he said, but that one little grain of rice, he's no longer human.
Yeah.
That's how much people don't think about it, but you are no longer human then when you have something implanted in you like that.
You've been augmented.
Yes. And what does God say about that?
Well, in the Old Testament, a lot of times it's go in and wipe out everyone, including the children.
Yes. And blot their name out from the Lamb's Book of Life.
They don't exist.
Yes.
So you cease to exist.
Yes, because you're no longer... You're enhanced.
It's the same kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is.
And we know this. We know that because you can see, because for people that don't understand Genesis 6, right?
Yeah.
They don't understand what's really happening in the Old Testament when God is telling the Israelites as they go into the promised land to wipe these people out and don't spare anyone. Kill the women, kill the men, kill the women, kill the children, kill everybody and everything. Occasionally he lets them take some of the animals for plunder.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's wipe out them too.
Yep.
And you look at that and you think, how could a loving God do that? And it's because that these entities have been created outside of his creation.
And then they can harness something else.
Good grief.
Think about it. Think about what a demon spirit could enter in one of these little brains.
And yeah, and for those of you that haven't seen RoboCop, the second RoboCop or any of them, the second RoboCop, they decided that they're going to make like a RoboCop. But the grand idea is to literally make it, and then the way that they're going to control this entity, because he has a human brain, that's pretty much all it is.
Yeah,
is he was an addict, and they're going to give him the drugs that he's addicted to, in order to keep him in check.
Yeah,
that's basically exactly what you're reading right here.
Yeah.
So we continue on because it gets worse. As it always does.
I just had to bring that up.
Isn't that terrifying though?
Yeah.
This whole thing is terrifying.
This is,
and they're doing it. like it makes you wonder, okay, they're doing this, right?
Yeah.
So this has obviously been in development a while, right? You don't just wake up and go, hey, I think we can do this, and then do this really complex thing.
Well, as Rob Skiba said in his thing, they're usually 15 to 20 years ahead of what they put out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because you know that the government's behind something.
They were shooting, right. They called it 2045, man becomes immortal.
Mm-hmm.
So this pretty much settles that. And we're 20 years away from that.
Raise your hand if you think God's going to stop it before we get there.
It would be nice.
Oh, my goodness. For those of you that are listening, have no fear. Ben and I raised our hands. So we continue on with this insanity. So we talked about the pleasure, right? We're going to hit them with dopamine, which is basically drugs, right? I mean, we're going to hit them with a dopamine hit. Now, meanwhile, as punishment, the organoids are exposed to chaotic stimuli such as irregular electrical activity. A live view of the biochips working in real time can be found, and then they give you this address, which is finalspark.com/live, which is just scary that you can watch in real time this inhuman, ungodly debauchery take place. These tiny spheres, about 0.5 millimeter wide, are kept in sterile incubators at body temperature, provided with water and nutrients, and connected to an electrical circuit with small electrodes, according to the founders, again, and like we read earlier. The NeuroPlatform operates using a wet wire architecture, which blends hardware, software, and organic biology. While the human brain only needs 20 watts to power its 86 billion neurons, achieving the same efficiency with silicone would require 10 megawatts of power, according to the Final Spark website. So if they were to do this, our brains only require 20 watts of power because God is immensely creative in how he does everything. But to do the same thing with just silicone would be 10 megawatts of power. The efficiency of the NeuroPlatform system becomes especially relevant as artificial intelligence continues to grow. AI, Ben.
Yeah.
Training large modules like GPT-4 needs a lot of energy. Does that anybody know what that might be?
It's an AI program.
That would be Chat GPT, baby.
Yeah.
As much as 6,000 times the energy of a European citizen uses per year. So they got to figure out, because they're all about being green, right? Got to save the world and go green.
Makes no sense.
No, it makes zero sense.
So
only man is only man is ignorant and jerkish enough to think that he can destroy God's creation.
I know.
Arrogant would be the word I guess I was looking for.
My thing is, I'm going to get it real close to us.
Ooh.
What they're building over there on 65.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that what this is?
Oh, I'm sure that there'll be things like that.
Biotech?
Yeah, absolutely.
So right in our backyard, they are conjuring things up to invite evil spirits to come in and inhabit.
Yeah, we're going to get to that here in a second too, because this is just.
I'm just.
No. You talk. I'm not stopping you.
No,
I'm like,
it's
talk
just,
away.
People don't realize that. Oh, it's this technology. Blah 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 blah.
No, because like our government has, and the governments around the world, for that matter, have learned from history. How do you keep the citizenry at bay?
Yeah,
you feed them, and you give them entertainment.
Yeah,
that's as simple as it is.
Fixed entertainment.
Yep. Right.
Yeah, I'm slowly working on you. I
mean, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But we all, but even like, okay, so like if you don't watch football, there's it's pick your pleasure, right? Sit down, watch Netflix.
Yeah.
They keep you entertained and they keep you fed.
So,
and you'll do anything they want.
Frankenstein.
Yeah. It's pronounced Frankenstein.
No, I believe that probably really happened.
There's so much that we have seen that either they inspired it to happen.
Yeah.
Because I think it happens both ways. We've talked about this before. I think that I think a lot of times these people watch stuff and that people come up with creatively and they go, I think we can do that.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing happens too, of like, oh, look what we figured out to do. We need to, put it in front of people.
Yeah.
We need to put the evil in front of people, right? Like,
oh yeah.
A lot of times you think that's scriptural, that they have to do that.
Yeah.
Is that Amos, I think we said?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. So you can continue to read
I will. So in the case of NeuroPlatform, the bioprocesses involves deriving energy from the brain organoids, a biological source. Bioprocessors use very little energy, roughly equivalent to that of a light bulb. This efficiency could make advanced computing more accessible while significantly reducing its carbon footprint. Although your laptop might not be powered by a human brain organoid anytime soon, the technology can be used to power even larger versions of AI systems like we already talked about. ChatGPT. How scary is this? Let's see. Oh my gosh. Okay, I missed this paragraph. I apologize. The NeuroPlatform is a bioprocessing platform or a type of device used to carry out biological processes to produce or modify substances. Bioprocessing can involve various biological sources and produce a wide range of products. For example, brewing beer is considered a bioprocess. And we continue down here. Obviously, however, the current challenge for the project is the lifespan of the organoids. So we have to figure out how to make the organoids live longer so we don't have to keep growing them. While silicone chips used in processors can last for decades, brain organoids are estimated to survive for a maximum of 100 days. Final Spark's founders worked with artificial neuron networks for the first 5 years of the company's existence. However, after realizing just how much power artificial systems consumed, the team decided to pivot using biological neurons. We basically had to learn everything from scratch since that was not our expertise at all, Jordan said. When asked about the kind of implant the NeuroPlatform will have in the future, Jordan said he imagined some implications in the field of neurodegenerative diseases and brain-computer interface. So similar to what Musk just did with his, what was the thing that he implanted in the guy's brain? Neuralink?
Yeah.
Which I think he was just on Rogan. So if you're interested in hearing that guy, go talk to him. I'm sure that's terrifying. If you had asked a similar question to Shockley, the inventor of the transistor, he would probably not have guessed about smartphones and the internet, Jordan said. Yet this advancement brings ethical dilemmas to light. Using human brain cells, even in a miniature lab-grown form, sparks discussions about consciousness and the essence of life. Oh, that's just stupid talk. It's like, did no one watch Jurassic Park? Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something.
Yeah.
Right? Shinya Yamanaka won the Nobel Prize in 2012 for discovering induced pluripotent stem cells, iPSCs, which can transform mature cells into versatile ones without ethical issues. This breakthrough enabled personalized stem cells for studying diseases and advancing regenerative medicine. Although Final Spark stresses that these organoids lack sentience, how do they know that? The ethical discourse on utilizing living cells for computing remains ongoing. It remains that neurons are probably the most intimate cell for us as thinking creatures, Jordan said. It is clear that technology is always pushing the frontiers, and we as scientists need the help of ethicians and philosophers to think about the implications. So what they just go get ethicians and philosophers that are good with it, and then they go, well, they said it was okay. Final Spark is offering universities and other educational institutions access to NeuroPlatform for $500 a month, with certain projects receiving free access. Businesses seeking access can contact Final Spark for a personalized quote. Holy moly. My wife kind of dug into this a little bit, and one of the institutions that is currently using this, Michigan University. And it is being funded by BlackRock.
Oh, wow.
I know that, Ben. Hey, I know that might shock you, but don't worry, Ben. You know why? I'm trained in CPR. I can bring you back when you have a heart attack from shock. Only if the Lord sees fit, of course.
Yes.
I have to put that disclaimer in there. Did you find your verse?
It's Amos 3:7.
Okay, go away. Fire away.
Adonai God does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets.
There you go.
Good or bad.
Good or bad.
It just says, because he uses prophet, servants. Nebuchadnezzar was God's servant.
Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar. Of course, that's the English spelling. It's totally not that in actual Hebrew.
Yeah. But yeah, just for those of you that wonder that, you know, God uses anybody and everybody.
That's right. He certainly does.
And if you are, if God uses you, you are his servant.
Yeah. Wow.
Good or bad.
So yeah. head to finalspark.com to
I wonder
find out
if
about
they
all
got that from
insanity.
Transformers.
I'm sure they did.
Because, every sentient being has a spark in them.
Oh,
I'm telling you, Transformers is getting real and real.
Why would
every
they
day.
call it Final Spark? It's almost like they probably don't know when they were naming it, but like do the enemies, the principalities and powers that are behind the scenes pulling the puppet strings of this thinking, do they know like we're getting near the end?
I don't know.
Like we're going to call it Final Spark.
Even Legion, when they saw, "Are you here to torment us, Jesus?" Son of God.
Yeah.
It wasn't, notice they didn't say Son of Man. They said Son of God because they knew who he was. There is no, when they say the sperm enters the egg, there is a spark. Have you seen that video?
Yeah, I think I have.
So,
maybe not.
What are they saying with Final Spark? Is this what's going to be killing us?
Probably. I think so. I mean, we've talked about it on the show before.
Yeah.
That all this stuff is going to wind up being the death of us.
No, it will be.
Because we just can't help ourselves.
Oh, no. And and if you think, see, this is where righteousness versus being, thinking of doing the right thing is two different things.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
You'll lose like a leg and you think, the right thing would be to have a new leg put on, some kind of robotic, attachment. I know it's great, but then you are no longer.
Yeah, like what point do you become?
Well, if the grain of rice no longer makes you human, according to the guy that made it.
Yeah.
And
he's an atheist. It's terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, because what happens if you get in a wreck and, they just go in there and do it? We're going to get to the point, right?
Like RoboCop?
Yeah. Or they're going to
Darth Vader?
Yeah.
General Grievous?
Right? Yeah, it's almost like there's a long list of these types of things.
Yeah. The Terminator? Well, that's not so much.
Yeah.
The Matrix?
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
What's weird is the lady that wrote the Terminator wrote the Matrix.
What now?
The same lady wrote the Terminator and the Matrix.
Oh, I thought the Wachowskis wrote the Matrix and the Wachowski sisters now or whatever they are. They both are transgender. And then James Cameron wrote the.
No, supposedly it was some.
Who knows?
It's
the works of the devil, brother.
I could be wrong. Who knows, folks? I could be saying something that's made up.
I don't know. It doesn't matter because it's all evil, dude.
Yeah.
It is because we're seeing this stuff for real. We were when we were kids, we're like, oh, dude, that's crazy. You think that could really happen?
Well, think about it. Terminator came out in 1984. And he's like, oh, that technology is like 40 years away.
Here we are.
Yeah.
And here we are. They're making organoids.
Sentient beings.
It always makes me think of the little, do you remember the Noid? The Domino's Noid? Avoid the Noid?
Yeah.
Avoid the Noid, people.
That's right.
So we move on to, we've already identified that Switzerland is the home of Davos, where all of the World Economic Forum meets. So if we bomb Davos, I shouldn't say this. I'm going to not say that because it's not worth it. I know we've said we would not say things, but this was like a dark thought I shouldn't even put out there from a being close to Jesus perspective. But I'm like, we have a lot of bombings in the world. If somebody wants to actually be useful, they could do some things in Davos, but whatever. Help us out a little bit. But it's all part of the grand evil.
Yes.
The grand scheme of God shutting down the show. But these wicked, evil people meet every year. It's not like they hide it. And they put their agenda out there, Agenda 2030 or whatever they've got, that they've come out with. So that's in Switzerland. And then we just talked about Final Spark. Hey, guess where Final Spark's based, Ben?
Switzerland?
Oh, tell him what he's won, Johnny. Ding, 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 ding. We need to get more sound effects on this board to actually, have a lot of fun with that. Little game show chimes right there.
Yeah.
And then so we move on to Wicked number 3, which would be, well, I guess technically I guess we've kind of already talked about, which would be CERN. Right, so you got Davos, and then you got Final Spark, and then we move on to CERN. And this was an article.
Does it make you concerned?
I've already used that joke. You can't use it anymore.
But I can ask.
Yeah, this should make all of us concerned, because here's the title of this particular Joy Fest. Researchers at Large Hadron Collider are confident to make contact with parallel universe in days. And this was dated May 19th, by the way. So who knows what they've been able to accomplish in the last month and a half.
Okay. This goes back with what we were kind of talking about earlier upstairs. And let's say, when did they start up the Hadron Collider again?
I don't know.
Was that like in April?
Yeah, I do remember we talking about that.
Right around
they were like talking about the new season. They almost like treat it like it's like the new scientific season or whatever. Like it's a show.
Like if it would have been like around April 19th, April 20th, like right around when Beltane started. And if you don't know what Beltane is, look that up. It's like Belfast for Nimrod.
I'm not familiar with this.
Gilgamesh, Baal, Osiris. And
by the way, those are names all synonymous with not good things.
And CERN has a statue to those guys out in front of them. And what they're trying to do is, quote unquote, rent the veil to bring them here.
Here we go.
And if they open this portal, or whatever you want to call it, to our, I don't even want to say dimension, really.
Well, I think it is. I think that's fair. Here's the we'll pull up.
Oh, Shiva. Shiva is another name. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the. Let's there we go. There's a good picture of Shiva for you.
But okay, in the book of Jasher, this I know you don't. I'll say I know you don't give a lot of credence to Jasher, not because
I've never really read it. We should actually probably cover it on the show. It'd be good for me.
When God came down to Babel, see, here we go. There's another thing. What a lot of people don't realize, they were broke up into three camps that were building the tower. One was going to kill God. One was going to set up their gods, and Nimrod was going to be God. And so the ones that were going to set up their gods, he turned them into monkeys and elephants.
Oh, imagine that. That harkens to some Indian religions, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. And they were serving Nimrod.
Go figure.
And for those of you that think that this is all coincidence, no, it's because the return of Babylon.
Yeah,
that's what this is all about. And the return of we talked about Gilgamesh, and this brings it in.
It does,
because Gilgamesh was Nimrod, and a lot of people believe that. And this is just opening what they wanted to do.
Yeah, they're fairly confident too in looking into the Gilgamesh thing, because we were planning on doing an Epic of Gilgamesh show, but I think we've kind of shelved it for now.
But this is all tied in.
It does. It's all tied together. Absolutely. And they have a lot of record that says Gilgamesh was real.
Yeah.
And that he existed, and he was one of the leaders of early Babylon.
Yeah.
And they have all these cuneiform tablets that they found with the multiple different stories on it. So there's like 5 or 6 different stories.
So let's see. God goes down with the 70 other gods, confounds their language, and they go away talking about one guy.
Yep.
Nimrod.
Yep.
The Tower of Babel. CERN is our Tower of Babel.
Yep. I've always said the technological, especially the stuff that we just read about, where they're like, it's like a combo pack, right?
Oh,
it's this kind of stuff where we're like monkeying around with
monkey.
Look what we did. Monkeying around with, opening up portals to the spiritual realm, and then
that's what it's not. It's not going to be like another planet. It's going to be the spiritual realm, and they're going to come in. And for those of you that don't have Christ in your life, it's an empty house. They're going to come back 7 times stronger.
Yeah.
And then they see all these little brains that are connected to something. They're going to inhabit those as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because the whole thing here is, again, this goes back to Genesis 6 again, right? And that whole fall, and what was the punishment for the Watcher's offspring?
Yeah.
They were going to die, and they were going to be, disembodied spirits.
Yeah.
So this is a way, like we talked about upstairs,
Could this
to
be,
eventually try to get them to have bodies again.
could this be CERN, the opening of the bottomless pit in Revelation?
Oh, yeah. There's so many possibilities here. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, whatever it is, it's bad, right? Like they're monkeying with stuff. Again, I keep saying that. I should say elephanting with stuff too. Throw that in there. They're playing with things that are just bad.
Oh.
Bad. This is a bad idea. You're playing in God's turf, right?
Yeah.
There was something else I saw an article for the other day where they're also messing around with the idea of downloading consciousness.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I mean, that's been talked about for a while.
That's part of that 2045.
Yeah.
I should find that and send it to you.
And there's a show on Amazon right now called Upload, which is done from a comedic perspective, right?
Yeah.
But that's the whole idea, is they've figured out how to upload your consciousness into a computer. The problem that they have is trying to download you back. That always goes bad,
Yeah.
right? And I think about like Ted Williams and these people that have had their bodies and their brains cryogenically frozen for like when all this stuff finally happens. So
Yeah.
this is insane.
Yeah, this is all.
It's just insane, man.
And if it's not a coincidence, God knew what was going to happen.
Of course he did.
So they just, instead of Babylon, they moved it to Switzerland, and I think there is a connection between. I think there is a temple there that they moved.
You want to try to find out on your phone? I'll start reading
Yeah.
this one too, because so this is the article here that talks about them trying to basically open up the other side, whatever they're calling this here, the parallel universe. Oh my goodness gracious. The astoundingly complex LHC atom smasher at the CERN Center in Geneva, Switzerland, are fired up to its maximum energy levels ever in an endeavor to identify or perhaps generate tiny black holes. Because we know that black holes swallow everything, so that's a good idea, right? If successful, a very new universe is going to be exposed, modifying completely not only the physics books, but the philosophy books too. It is even probable that gravity from our own universe may transfer into this parallel universe, researchers at the LHC say. The experiment is assured to accentuate alarmist critics of the LHC. You think? Many of whom initially warned that the high-energy particle collider would start the top of our universe with the making a part of its own. What? I'd have to, that sentence is totally crazy to me. But up to now, Geneva says intact and securely outside the event horizon. Oh my goodness. This is like when they were creating the atomic bomb, they literally had a concern that they would light the atmosphere on fire and destroy everything, like destroy the planet. You ever heard this before?
Yeah, I remember watching Oppenheimer. Yeah,
Yeah. I just watched that the other day.
pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't care for it. It was okay.
I mean,
It was a one-time watch for me.
yeah, but I thought the story was really good. The acting was really good.
Yeah, no, it's well done. I'm typically a pretty big fan of the director that did it. He's pretty good. No doubt the LHC has been outstandingly successful. First, researchers provided the existence of the mysterious Higgs boson, which we call the God particle. Oh my goodness. A key building block of the cosmos, and it's seemingly well on the thanks to revealing dark matter. So we think we're getting ready to figure out dark matter, a previously untraceable theoretical prospect that's now believed to form up the foremost of matter within the universe. But next week's experimentation is reflected to be a, quote, game changer. Mr. Faisal, one in every of the three-strong group of physicists behind this experiment, said just as many parallel sheets of paper, which are two-dimensional objects, breadth and length, can exist during a dimension, parallel universes can exist or can even exist in higher dimensions. We predict that gravity can leak into extra dimensions, and if it does, then miniature black holes are produced at the LHC. Normally, oh my goodness, why would you hey, let's make some mini black holes, even though we know they swallow everything in existence around them. Normally, when people consider the multiverse, they think about the many-world interpretation of quantum physics where every possibility is actualized. This cannot be tested, so it's a philosophy and not science. This is often not what we mean by parallel universes. What we mean is real universes in extra dimensions. As gravity can effuse of our universes into the additional dimensions, such a model may be tested by the direction of many black holes at the LHC. We have calculated the energy at which we expect to detect these many black holes in gravity's rainbow, a new scientific theory. It's always a rainbow, man. It's so crazy to me that even the things that they name things or the way they think all comes back to God and the Bible, and they just don't even realize what they're doing. If we do detect many black holes at this energy, then we're going to know that both gravity's rainbow and the additional dimensions are correct. When the LHC is fired up, the energy is calculated in tera-electron volts. A TeV is what, 1 trillion? Yeah, electron volts. Up to now, the LHC has sought for many black holes at energy levels below 5.3 TeV. But the foremost recent study says this is often too low. Instead, the model forecasts black holes might form at energy levels of no but 9.5 TeV in 6 dimensions and 11.9 TeV in 10 dimensions. Wow. This is just crazy stuff, dude. So that's number 3 in Switzerland.
I couldn't find it in that room. Sorry. But when you were talking about God's glory, I was thinking of Revelation and, God's showing around,
Yeah.
everything.
Wow.
All it's going to do is just, I don't want to say, is it rending the veil? Or is it just is it removing our eyes, opening our eyes from what God doesn't want us to see to what, if we see it, we are going to be terrified?
Those of us with eyes to see and ears to hear, I would think, should be terrified. That's for sure.
And I think this is what they meant. And it's not the spiritual world is very, it manifests itself physically.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a manifestation of the spiritual world physically with all of this happening. We might not be able to see it, but we can definitely feel its effects.
Yeah.
And we're doing nothing. Most of the casserole Christians
Thank you, Tracy.
are thinking this is great.
Yeah.
Technology is wonderful. We hold it in our hand and everything. But no, it should be scary. It should be like, we're going to die.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, oh, man, it's just, do you think that back in the Tower of Babel, do you think that people knew what they were doing?
Oh yeah, they knew what they were doing.
Do you think that these people know what they're doing?
They know what they're doing.
Do you think all of them know what they're doing?
Yeah.
Or do you think they're just like some naive scientists that are just atheists and they're not necessarily... Because you can have an atheist that's not necessarily like anti-God, you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it sounds strange, but I just don't believe. I don't necessarily have any issue with you that you believe, but I don't necessarily believe in anything. So I'm not out to disprove that there's no God. I'm just a scientist, and I just think with a purely scientific thought.
Yeah. I don't know. In Jasher, it said some of them shot arrows into heaven thinking they were going to kill God. And so what God did was put blood on the arrows when they came down. So they thought they killed him.
Really?
Yeah. And the reason why they did it was because after the flood, they found out, hey, he flooded the earth. Let's kill him in case he does it again.
Yeah, I heard someone say too that when you go look at the Tower of Babel and how they built it, the pitch that they used to try to seal the bricks was waterproof.
Yeah.
So that they were like, oh, God can't flood us again.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, I'll just use wind.
Yeah. it's they were all together in one mind in one group. They were like a hive mind doing what they thought sit. And you plug into the Matrix or CERN, you're serving a God that, well, sacred space.
Yeah, so that kind of technically, if you, like, okay, so these things are not necessarily.
Who's their God?
Yeah, but it's not necessarily blatant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we look at it and we're like, well, it's pretty blatant to me, right? Who your God is or who you serve, right? Yeah. But it's not necessarily completely blatant, right?
Yeah.
Like someone can make an argument like, well, we're just scientists trying to figure out how to do these things.
When you
Don't you want
Shiva
to know?
in front of you?
Right. You know, but this last one that we're going to talk about, this is another level. And I think we posted this a while back on our Facebook page too. And again, hey, Ben, guess where the Gotthard Tunnel is?
Oh, I don't know.
This is, and for those of you who don't know.
It might be hard.
I know.
Switzerland?
Oh my, he's on fire. He's on fire. I can hear the sizzle. Yes. So this is like a 30 or 40 mile long tunnel or kilometer long. Apologize.
So about a
tunnel.
mile.
Yeah, right. Whatever. Like 30 or 40 kilometers. So, yeah, like, so what is that, like 30 miles? If it's 40 kilometers, it'll probably be like 25, 30 miles, something like that. Because I know 100 kilometers an hour is 60 miles an hour. So there's like a 60%.
Yeah.
So if it's 40 miles long, whatever, take 416. So what, 34 or 24, something like that, 24 miles long.
It's
long. But it's the world's longest and deepest tunnel.
Deeper than the one in Russia?
Well, I think you're talking hole that they dug in the earth, right?
Oh, okay.
So that would be kind of different. But this is the world's longest and deepest tunnel. And I forget how many kilometers below the surface of the earth this thing is at some point. And it literally runs underneath the Alps and connects like, I forget.
Liechtenstein.
It runs for a while. But it literally goes all the way to like Genoa, like on the coast, down at the Med. Goes to the from the Mediterranean, like all the way to Zurich, I want to say. And it literally it runs underneath the Swiss Alps. And they opened this tunnel last year, I think it was. And the tunnel ceremony, they had a ceremony to open this tunnel.
Crazy.
And if I remember, I'll repost it onto our Facebook page so you can watch. It's like an hour long, so
like
we're not going to show it on the show.
They had like sacrifices,
dude. And yeah, like they didn't actually do any sacrifices, but like they mimed it.
Yeah.
And you've got a dude literally walking around in a goat costume.
Yeah.
You know, which is like satanic. Okay, so like a man goat, right? Yeah. And he's like the featured person. And this starts literally in the tunnel, all these different parts of the ceremony, and then they wind up outside the tunnel, and they have more of this. It just starts with weird, and then it just devolves into completely nuts satanic.
Yeah,
and like so blatantly satanic that there's no one that could deny it.
Oh, I know.
And they have like a half nude woman with her breasts exposed, and she's wearing like this weird headdress, and she's got angelic wings, and she's on wires floating around, and they've got these dancers that are basically like in their underwear, and it's like miming like,
so it was a Madonna
basically
show.
Like, pretty much. Yeah, it's what Taylor Swift's going to be in 5 years. But it's like totally demonic. I mean, just from A to Z, and like they have like and they're wheeling them out on like train cars and stuff in the tunnel. And these male and female, like scantily clad, people are like smacking themselves with like,
crazy
powder covered, like cloths, and it's so whacked out. But they do, everything revolves around this like goat creature. Yeah. So what is that, right?
It's a satyr.
Yeah. Pan. Mm-hmm. We're talking about, to me, this is Pan, right? When you go look at the god Pan, right? And guess what the god was that we were worshiping in Caesarea Philippi?
Pan.
Yeah, we're worshiping Pan, the temple of Pan, Pan's grotto, right? Where we know that Everything happened in Genesis 6.
Gates of hell.
Yeah, the gates of hell. So if you haven't watched our episode with Derek Gilbert, that's the perfect plug for that, because you can go look and see exactly what we're talking about.
On this rock.
On this rock, I'll build my church, the gates of hell. Because that area, that's what it was known as. It was known as the gates of hell. And it's literally hearkening back to all of that stuff. Like, it's totally given an homage to that
and
stuff.
I think what the average Christian needs to know and understand is that, yes, Jesus came and died for our sins.
Yeah.
But it was to reclaim earth.
Yes.
From the fallen wickedness of the Watchers.
Yeah.
And everything that they did. It was to erase. And the more you get into that, I'm going to say everybody needs to read Michael Heiser's book, The Unseen Realm.
The Unseen Realm.
And then,
if it's too heavy for you, get Supernatural. Another good book.
And then everybody should go and listen to I should post it on our Facebook page, the thing of Rob Skiba about Nimrod and Gilgamesh.
So the one you were playing for me?
Yes. Yeah. That's heavy stuff.
Yeah, it's totally heavy.
And you put them together.
And how we're directly involved in is the United States.
Yes.
Because we're talking Switzerland here, right? But we are involved in this.
And this is all spiritual stuff. It has the stuff, Genesis 6.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with Genesis 6. Nothing else.
No, 100%.
Nothing. And for those of you that think it doesn't matter, it does matter. You can think that this is just a coincidence, and no, they are serving evil gods.
Yeah.
No other gods before me.
I was watching all these people that were part of this ceremony getting rolled out on these train cars.
Oh, it's crazy.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, do you really know what you're doing?
That harkened to like 1930s Germany.
Do you know what you're doing?
Train cars.
I know. And like it kind of like they were trying to mime the orgy, right? It was kind of like what the whole dancers were doing.
When was that? What time was when was that done? About what?
Like time of year?
Yeah.
I want to say it was like October of 23.
Oh, okay.
I can look it up here. So Gotthard Tunnel ceremony.
I know that's.
I want to say it was 23. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it was further back than that. Yeah, I don't remember. They might have done it in two things where they did it on one end and then they did it on the other. But I don't know. But I'm getting a lot of 2016 on here, but then I think they just finished not that long ago, I think.
Well, that would coincide with what was going on in 2016 when they were putting all these when they rebuilt the temple in Times Square of Baal's temple, the portal, and then they built one in Trafalgar Square because ISIS destroyed it in 2016, and so they were like, well, in Syria, and they're like, well, we'll rebuild it here in Times Square, and if that's a tunnel, that's a gateway.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they have one there? I'm sure they're probably similar, and they set them up all over the world. And so they probably did this tunnel ceremony. And let's look back the past 8 years. What has happened these past 8 years? Wouldn't you say evil's run rampant? So they
say even in the past 4 or 5 years, it's gone to a whole nother level. So
they've invited all these spirits loose on us. CERN is opening this portal to another dimension. It's just not coincidence.
Yeah, the other interesting thing about this too is there's a whole lore about this particular tunnel that goes back where like they made a deal with the devil way back when to have this tunnel.
Huh. You don't say.
And they tried to trick they tried to trick the Satan by giving him a goat instead of a person, because the deal was you give me a person and I'll give you your tunnel. And so they tried to send a person in first, like whoever you send in will be the one I'll claim. And they tried to send a goat in first to trick Satan. So that's probably what all this is trying to harken back to to the deal they made with the devil for this tunnel. But this is crazy.
Wouldn't it be Azazel? No. I'm being very, very,
I don't think so.
No, I know, but
because
those of
again,
you that know your Bible,
yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
this is fun.
It is, right? What's an Azazel been?
Oh, it's the scapegoat. It would have been the scapegoat.
He would have been.
Maybe. Hey.
Well, and you got to think too, like, okay, so how far back does this lore go? Because I think the lore went back really far.
Yeah.
And you got to think, like, okay, so is the lore based on the biblical story
Normally it is.
of that event?
Normally it is.
Right? Or is like the biblical story based on the fact that like the Israel event,
Yeah.
the biblical event of doing the sacrifice and then sending the goat out and all this stuff and to the wilderness. But we had 9 guys die during this project. And it looks like maybe the project was further back, but it's just maybe just come to light because we're sleepy and we don't pay attention. But we had 9 dudes die during construction in these different sections. So I'd love to look up some of these names too of these different sections. Fido and Bodio. You got to wonder if they're probably like they mean things.
Oh yeah.
Probably not good things.
Yeah.
But yeah, one dude died in June of 2000, 2002, 2003, 2005, 2006, 10, and 12. So we had 9 workers die. Yeesh. Not so good, man. But yeah, go watch this ceremony. It's terrifying. There's no other way to put it. It's openly demonic and absolutely just terrifying. So it's insane. So yeah, there's more, right? There's more we could get into, I'm sure, with Switzerland. But we've always had this whole thing of like Switzerland is this neutral country that doesn't get involved and all these things, and they're not the bad guys and they're not the good guys, and they kind of just hey, we don't get involved in stuff.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're like the protected place that everybody that's warring for control just goes, but we all agree on one thing. We can't mess with Switzerland because we need that for all of our evil plot.
9, the number 9 in the spiritual realm, just look this up, means it's spiritual enlightenment and completion.
And we had 9 guys die.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It's pretty terrifying, dude.
See, it's all connected. This is insane.
It's all connected.
I'll be honest. I was like, how is this conversation going to go? Because I'm like, but the more you get into it and the more you realize
you see the interconnected fabric
of
how everything's woven together.
Yes, you do. And that's the crazy thing, because in Michael Heiser's book, Sacred Space, I mean, he talked about that quite a bit, where like, who is the god over of Switzerland? Who was the, fallen, or I shouldn't say fallen, but who was of the 70 or 72 Elohim that was supposed to take care of that? Yeah. People don't, folks, there's more to your Bible than just Sunday school stories.
That's true, man. No, there's no doubt about it.
I mean,
it's dark, and it's dark stuff, dude. It's dark stuff.
That is scary.
Yeah.
It's real scary.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got, all the ties to Genesis 6, right? We have what the Watchers did. We have all that, how that corrupts the earth, how there's extreme death and all the corruption that comes with that, which is too numerous to get into. You can go read about it. And then we have the cleansing of everything, where God tries to be like, okay, let's reboot this thing because you've destroyed it.
Yeah.
We reboot and we wind up doing the exact same thing again.
Yeah.
And then we get Tower of Babel. We start going down that road again. We're going to overtake God. We're going to become God. So God's like, nope, that's not going to happen. So we're going to knock that down. We're going to confound all the language, spread everybody around the world, and then we start again.
Yeah.
And then here's where we are.
Yeah.
And there's no way we have that much time left.
No, we don't.
There's no way.
I mean,
they're going to wind up figuring out things that will step in God's turf.
In Jasher, it said when if somebody were to fall off the tower, they didn't care. But if they dropped a brick, they mourned. Aren't we there today? Nobody cares about somebody dying.
Nobody cares about millions of people dying.
Yeah. This brick right here.
That's a good call.
That's what it is. It's a brick.
Yeah, that's right.
How many innocent lives die for the...
What do we call it when we screw our phones up if we try to monkey with them? I keep saying monkey.
Monkey.
I bricked my phone.
Yeah.
It's useless to me. It's just a brick.
Yeah.
Like it's not. You can build a tower to God.
You can, literally, you can.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Everybody just... I'm like getting fired up. The whole green thing is
poke
so...
you a little bit.
The green thing is so fake. Like...
what?
The green, being green is so fake.
Come on. That's so
Like,
crazy.
Like all these electric cars and everything, it still takes coal.
That's right. They have to generate the electricity somehow.
Yes. And this is what these people in that Satan's seat are doing. I'm going to go Satan's seat. That's the new thing.
Well, it's all about control.
Yeah.
To me, it's simple. That one's easy. That's about control. If we can digitize the currency,
oh yeah,
we can have control.
Yeah.
If we can get you to get away from fossil fuels, right, and propane like we have here, or natural gas or whatever, we then can control the energy. So we can control you. Makes you much easier to control, right? Much more potent. We have a much heavier stick to hit you with.
Yeah.
Right? That's why for me, one of the things that A and I were talking about this the other day, and it was like, why would they push solar so heavy?
Oh.
Right? And I think the reason for that is they give you a false sense of security.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought instantly of the Matrix.
Yeah.
Why did they go underground?
Yeah.
Because they wound up destroying the atmosphere so bad that they could no longer get sunlight.
Yeah.
So they had to go underground.
Yeah.
And we know that they're cloud seeding and stuff.
Oh.
And doing all these things, messing with the atmosphere, messing with God's creation at every turn.
Yep.
You know? So if they can get you on solar, but then they can control like how much sun you get, it's a false sense of security, right? You think you're becoming independent, but you're really not. You're becoming even more dependent.
You know, I just said this. Everybody needs to pray that they are destroyed.
Yeah.
If my people would humble themselves and pray and turn from their evil ways, I would bless their life. Nobody repeats and turn from their evil ways.
And I will see from heaven and I will heal their land.
Everybody that hears this should pray that.
Yeah.
You turn from your evil ways too. Not just pray that.
Imagine how powerful we would be if we didn't have all these denominations.
Oh, I was talking to somebody about that the other day, and they were like, well, you can't.
Imagine how powerful we would be.
I know. We would be Goliath. Literally. Nobody could stop us.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's a terrible thing, but we would be massive.
Yeah.
The church would be massive.
We would be. Yeah, we'd be unbelievable.
But the church lays down so easily.
Oh, of course. What people will do in order to keep that food coming and that entertainment coming and the comfort, it's incredible.
Yeah.
We got a good taste of it about 4 years ago, what they're willing to do.
I know.
In order to keep that. And I'm sorry, but I will not do it. I will not do it. I will not serve my Lord.
I know.
I won't. No matter what it costs me, I will not do it. I've spent 40 years. I'm not spending another minute. And I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. But I'm not going to voluntarily.
It's happening.
Oh, totally.
I mean, it's just like.
That's why we have churches dying.
And it's like America is in the pot.
Oh, yeah.
And
America's the main ingredient in the pot, it feels like sometimes.
We're probably up medium heat, maybe medium high.
Oh, it's starting to get awful bubbly.
It is.
It's getting pretty bad.
And for those of you that think that, I'm an American, I believe in God and my Bible and my guns, well, you need to do more than believe.
Yeah.
You got to trust.
Yeah.
You have to trust.
That's right. You got to trust. The other thing too is like, okay, that's great. What about your neighbor?
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
Yeah.
Are you trying to get your neighbor saved too? Or are you going to be like Kevin Bacon in that that movie.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, nope, you got to get out of here. I already knew things were coming. I already got my guns at my bunker. You can go somewhere else.
Yeah,
What's the name of that movie? I keep forgetting the name of that movie. It just came out.
I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
Whatever. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Netflix, Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke.
I can't remember. I've listened to so much stuff this past week on all kinds of multiple things. But somebody, it might have been Heiser, might have been somebody else. Yeah, I'll give it to Heiser.
Sure, why not?
He said that if, like, there was so many Christians, this was from 2018, there were so many Christians, let's say, make it like 50 million Christians. He said if one Christian, out of those, if every 50 million Christian witnessed and saved another person.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, in like just a short amount of time, we could change the whole world, but we don't.
Yeah, we don't.
Out of convenience.
Yeah, we don't. That's true. True story. True story.
I never was a big Michael Heiser fan, and I've really been listening to this one teaching he did. And it's like,
I like Mike.
I can say I disagree with him on some things, but when it comes right down to it, everybody read The Unseen Realm.
Yeah.
It'll answer everybody's questions.
Yeah, you know what? The other thing, and I said this yesterday when I was giving an interview. If anything, get it, because if you're in a spot like I was this way for 40 years practically.
Yeah.
Where I just was kind of dead and dry in my faith, and I would read the Bible, but it was like hollow reading. I was just kind of like, I'm checking the box.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm spending some time with God. And I would read my Bible, but it wasn't really coming alive for me. Man, that is a great way to have your Bible come alive in new ways, because what you can do is there's an excellent like appendix in that book.
Oh, yeah.
That talks about topics and then where you can go in the Bible and specific, chapter, verse, book of where you can find it talks about it.
Yeah.
And that is such a great way to have your Bible come alive again and to breathe some new life into your time with God, because you will start to see things on a whole nother level. And if you've heard us today and you've heard us talk about Genesis 6, and maybe you're new to listening to our voice and you're not sure what that means, you need to go read Genesis 6 right now. And then I'm going to have you go and get yourself a free copy. You can find it online. PDF of the Book of Enoch. I think I've even put them up on our Facebook page before. Or, roll you one even better, maybe a little easier for you to read, and it'll give you even more history than that, is I'm a huge fan of the Book of Jubilees, which I've put up there as well. But that will fill in what really happened. And when you understand what really is happening in Genesis 6, again, you understand what Christ was doing while he was here. There was so much greater at play than an apple on a tree.
Oh, yeah.
That is a fragment of the story, just a small little fragment of the story. The much larger portion of the story and picture is actually what's happening in Genesis 6.
Yeah.
And that is what we're fighting. And everything we talked about today goes back to the Garden of Eden.
Oh, yeah.
And then Genesis 6.
And the Nephilim.
And the Watchers.
They are returning.
Old gods.
I've been saying that for a few years. The old gods are returning. I think I started saying that probably in just myself, probably 2016, 2017, that the old gods are returning.
Yeah.
And it was just a feeling I had. And you got to look up what the old gods are.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
There are gods. That's why God said, have no other gods before me.
Yeah. Psalm 82.
Yeah.
Not that verse that you just quoted, but Psalm 82 will explain to you how the divine assembly actually works. Because, and just because you're reading that there are other gods, other Elohim, they are not on the level of our God. So you're not engaging in any kind of Hindu polytheistic belief system. We still have a monotheistic belief system, as far as there is only one God like God, but there are other small g gods.
Yeah.
They're real. And it's clearly talked about in the Bible, and I know that's controversial, which is ridiculous to me. What the things that are controversial in the church now, I have no tolerance for that. They're like, well, that's how you interpret the Bible. I'm like, no, that's how the Bible is written. It's not my interpretation.
And Jude and Jesus
it's you've been to too much school that had too many things pumped into your head, and we need to flush your brain out and actually teach you how to read your Bible properly. There's a lot of things like that I get really irritated with when they're like, well, that's your interpretation of what it says. Like, no, that's what it says. And if you just don't like it because somebody got in your ear hole when you were going to some kind of school or church and you have never looked into it for yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you look into it for yourself, you know it's right.
Yeah, it's true.
And when you understand, it fits like Cinderella's slipper with everything that we see after Babel.
And it's a repeat, as in the days of Noah.
Yep.
So my question is, at the Tower of Babel, there was just one man found worthy of God to work with. That was Abraham. So are you...
Which we know. Where did he go? Where did he go when he was first starting off? Where was he raised?
He was in...
he was in Ur.
Yeah.
He was in the Chaldeans in Ur, which is right in the middle of Babel. Right in the middle of Babylon.
Yeah. And are you going to be Abraham? Are you going to be the one God uses?
Yep. Like, I can work with this dude. Isn't that what you say?
Yeah.
Like, I can work with this dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fascinating thing. And again, you know, like when you get into these extra biblical texts, it will help make so many things make so much more sense. Like one of the fun things that I found here recently too, because we got everything happening over in Palestine and Israel and all this and that. When you go back and you read Jubilees and you understand more how everything was divvied up after the flood as far as land, you understand how when God is having the Israelites go into Canaan and clean house and take that land, because that was the promised land that was promised to them. The reason it's the promised land and it was promised to them was because that's the land that was given to Shem, which is their ancestor.
Yeah.
You know, that's Shem's land, and Canaan went in there and took it.
Yep.
And that wasn't his allotment.
Yep.
And he's like, I don't like my allotment. I like that land there. That's really nice.
Yeah,
and his dad and his brothers were like, don't do that. You're taking land that doesn't belong to you. You're going to get cursed because of it.
Yeah, and he was.
And he's like, well, no, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway.
He got cursed several times.
Yeah, he wasn't very smart.
No. He must have been like Joe.
Yeah, he's a hard-headed one, that guy. Oh. Is that you picking on your brother?
No, I'm picking on Biden.
Oh, okay. Good, Joe.
Not that smart.
Joe Truitt, you're off the hook. We think you're smart. You can come back. That's okay. But yeah, poor Joey Biden. Like, I don't feel sorry for that creep.
I guess I should have said Brandon.
Oh, my goodness.
But this is all important.
Yeah.
And I've been...
Here's what's happening. Here, right underneath all of our noses.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, too, is like, while you're watching the debate and you're getting all spun up and you're getting, hot in your huggies about, the debate and how you've got Trump and Biden and, we're in trouble and all this and that. Okay, I'm not saying you shouldn't watch that stuff, and I'm not saying it's not important, but the real important stuff is what we talked about today.
Yeah.
There is a great evil at work, and that's just the surface level stuff that you're watching of the evil, right?
Yeah.
It's like a magician. It's like, hey, watch over here in this magic trick, but it's really this hand you need to be paying attention to, right? While you're distracted. This is Joe having his moment is this hand over here, but the evil that we talked about is all over here.
Well, I was thinking of the Elvis song where he starts talking and he says, all the world's a stage and you played the biggest part.
That's right.
He should have known.
Yeah.
He played his part.
That dude was into some stuff too.
I mean, he played his part of what he was supposed to do.
Yeah. We could get into a wormhole on old Elvis too.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. Are you for certain?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
A little less conversation, a little more collider, please. Oh, my goodness. Well, I guess with that, we will bid you adieu until the next time on The Foil. Take care.
Bye.
Atomic.